Welcome back to Attack 404. In this episode, we're going to be springboarding off of the Windows XP attacks, but now we're going to be looking at the forensics acquisition of the disk, and then in the next episode, we're probably going to take a look at doing the memory analysis from the dumps that we have. So this is going to be a quick little video on piping out the disks or the affected disks from a compromised system. In this case, we're going to use the Windows XP x64 Service Pack 1 that we've launched. I believe it was the Eternal Blue or NetAPI exploit on. Don't really recall, it was in the previous video. In this example, what I'm doing is I'm pretty sure I loaded a Ubuntu image on the remote host, so we're going to SSH into that now. Yes, I know I spelled crucial DS wrong. I don't know what I was thinking that night, but who cares? So we see we have an Ubuntu 2204 ISO, and we see that the Windows XP machine is off. One of the things that I am going to say is that when you're launching forensics on a system, you need to coordinate with the business itself, because if in the event that that system is high criticality and is generating money, they're probably not going to want to take it offline. Doing so, they're going to want to keep it up, or what's going to end up happening is they're going to want to get another image on there pushed as fast as possible, get that VM down and a clean one put up, but that might take a little bit of time because we might have to patch and do things that they weren't keeping up on, which ended up getting it compromised in the first place. You see we have 2204, so we're going to open up the virtual machine here, and we're going to go to, and I'm going to scroll it up. What we're going to do is we're going to go into Actions, and we're going to go into Edit Settings. Then what we're going to do is we're going to look at the CD, DVD, ROM. We'll select the ISO. We'll hit Save. So there should be a boot into the BIOS that I'm looking for. Here we go. We'll click Save. We'll jump into the BIOS. We'll change some settings around. Save. And there you go. So we're going to try or install Ubuntu. Let it boot. And then I'll speed this up. Yay, Ubuntu. So we're going to select try Ubuntu because we don't want to mess with the disk itself. It shouldn't have loaded the disk anyway. And of course, depending on the amount of memory that you have, this might take a hot minute. Make a sandwich, get coffee, put in a beef Wellington. We are going to want to load up Terminal. And then what we're going to want to do is we're also going to want to check to see if we have access to dump this image via SCP to another host. So we do. You might need to create routes that point back and forth to get this done, or you might need specific systems in and around the environment that can collect this. So HDD, so we're going to give it a bullshit password. Cool, just do that one more time. So now we have a DD image that's already in there. So the next step we're going to do is fdisk L, and we're going to try to see what disks we have available to us. So we see we have SDA1. We need to make the text bigger, because as Saul Rosenberg once said, I can't see, goddamn you. So let's change that now. Must escasa la minchia, this thing over here. Quick brown fox no longer needs glasses. And we'll also do PS1 equals, and again we'll launch the fdisk. And we see that we have a SDA1, which looks like it's 8 gig in size. So what we will do is we will do DD. So we see that we have SDA. So that means that if we do an fdisk tacl grep case and sensitivity SDA, we can see that there's SDA and SDA1. So what we want to do is we want to copy SDA. We don't want to copy SDA1. We want the full hard drive, not just a partition or a segment of the hard drive. So before we even do any of this, we need to determine or find out if we can SSH into the server that we are dumping this data on. That's first and foremost. So what we're going to do is we're going to SSH into the box. and you're going to see it's going to ask you for that. It's going to ask you for a password. So I'm going to put the password in, and then after I put the password in, what's going to end up happening, I'm going to be connected or booted out, which is bullshit. That should give me access to the Synology drive. And what we're going to do is go to the home folder, volume 1. And in volume 1, what we're going to do is go into software. And then we'll probably dump it in here. So we'll get a PWD on that. Copy this. Oh, you bastard. So we'll copy that. We'll exit. And then I believe the command is SSH copy ID. If this is going to give you shit, then we're going to do attack I. Some crap, we'll clear it, and then what we're going to do is SSH copy ID. And then we'll pop in the password for the remote host. And then if we just do regular SSH into the remote box, we should have access to it without putting the password in, which is exactly what we want. Now after we went through all that jive, what we're going to do is we're going to start our disk acquisition. So in order to obtain the disk image, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to run dd input file dev sda, because we want the full disk, not just a partition or a piece of it. We're going to set the block size as 4 megs. And then what we're going to do is gzip, pipe that out to SSH. And then what we'll do is gunzip volume 1 software. And then we'll call it Windows XP, if I can spell right. Disk forensics .img, and then we'll start piping this out. So it will start acquiring the hard drive, and if we want, we could open up another tab, and then we can do, and then you'll see it is on the disk. And you'll see that the file size is actually changing. So we are in fact piping this out. I'm going to cut the video here, and then I'm going to show you another way that we could do the acquisition, being that this is a virtual machine. And then in the next video, we'll actually put this into SleuthKit and start doing forensic analysis on that box. So considering that we know that this is a virtual machine, let's say we did some convincing that that machine had to be taken down, and we had to do forensics on it. We magically had another system that could be put in its place right away. Everyone's happy. VPs aren't bitching like they normally do, and all that fun stuff. So we know that it's on an ESXi host. So what we could do is we can SSH into the ESXi host. Yes, and then we'll put the password in. If we put the password in, we'll tell it to shut its mouth. So the other way that we're going to do this is we're going to go into the directory and we're going to look for our Windows XP TAC machine, or whichever VM that you're working on. So we're going to issue an ls, case insensitivity, Windows XP, and then we see attack Windows XP x64. So we're going to cd into that. And we see we're in there, and then we're going to look for a VMDK file, which is a virtual machine disk image. And I know I've seen it, I'm going past it. So it's going to be this one right here. So if we do an ls lpa, you see that this is approximately 8 gigs, which is what we're working with. So we can transfer this out right now and put this to another system We can also grab a disk image of this. And another thing I want to express is, and that was quick, with the other system, even though it did finish, is we want to grab an SHA of the original disk. This way they can't say we did anything wrong. So we do dev SDA, let that calculate, and then we'll grab another one of the one that we piped over. The same thing with this box. I don't think you can hear my servers going apeshit right now. So we do have SHA 256 on. We want to grab a disk image of the VMDK before we do anything crazy. So I'm not going to go through all the intensive shit to make my server melt. I just want to stress the fact that you do want to grab a fingerprint of both the suspect disk image and the suspect drive. So in this instance where we piped over the disk image on the box that we're on now, this device in dev SDA would be considered the suspect disk. The suspect image would be considered the image that we piped over to the Synology drive. So keep that in mind. Again, suspect disk would be the VMDK. Suspect disk image would be the VMDK IMG that we acquired. That we would have the fingerprints of both, so that we can prove in a court of competent jurisdiction nothing has been modified. So now that we have an image file, I'm going to transfer that out to another system, and I'm going to start showing you what SleuthKit looks like and how to acquire certain things. So I do hope you enjoyed this episode and you learned a few new things. In the next episode, we're going to take a look at analyzing the disk images, and we're also going to take a look at analyzing the memory acquisition that we pulled, and then going through the entire list and whatever we acquired to find the exploit or what the threat actor had done. If you like the content, like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter. And if you want to connect with us on our Discord. And we hope to see you in the next episode.